The story begins with a brown-haired reporter announcing the next segment on Babylon. He reports that the Black Dragon Guild has set out to raid the 40th floor of the tower and notes that they have boasted about showcasing their top guild skills this time. Unfortunately, he continues, they have returned empty-handed once again. He then highlights Yu Su-ha, stating that by thwarting the Black Dragon's aspirations, Yu Su-ha, the #1 ranked hunter known as the Flame Emperor, has once again raided the boss single-handedly. He inquires about how he is today. Yu Su-ha greets the reporter, saying it is nice to see him. He mentions that he has set another record today, being the only one to have defeated the boss monster by himself since the appearance of the tower. The reporter hands him the microphone and asks if he would like to say a few words. Feeling annoyed, Yu Su-ha takes the mic and says that's all, and then asks if they can do something about that bad nickname first. Meanwhile, Kim Gong-ja sits in his room watching Yu Su-ha live on the news. He wonders why they call him the Flame Emperor when he has a proper name and criticizes the nickname as ridiculous, even suggesting that Flame Retard would be less embarrassing. Kim Gong-ja feels envious. On the news, Yu Su-ha says he plans to find and beat up the person who came up with the nickname and apologizes for it. Kim Gong-ja reflects on how enviable it is to live a life where one can say whatever they want whenever they want. He checks his phone to read the comments and sees one from a Catman, who remarks that Yu Su-ha is being watched by the entire world and asks if he could be less foul-mouthed. Another person comments, questioning why nationality matters when it comes to the tower, dismissing concerns about Yu Su-ha's personality, stating that he is already a legendary hunter. Kim Gong-ja remarks that he wants to become like the Flame Emperor. Someone asks if he is a fan of the Flame Emperor, suggesting there are better people to defend online. The other person responds that he is just stating facts, noting that everyone knows about Yu Su-ha's difficult personality, yet the news networks still feature him. He wonders how Yu Su-ha is dating the Saintess and speculates if she is considered a Saintess because of that. The cat person expresses surprise, asking when they have been dating. The other person confirms it, saying he has a friend who is a hunter and saw the two of them together. He reiterates his desire to become like the Flame Emperor. Another lady comments that she is friends with the Saintess, and she says the dating rumor is not true. Kim Gong-ja comments again that he wants to become like the Flame Emperor. The cat person asks who keeps commenting the same thing. Kim Gong-ja reiterates his desire to become like the Flame Emperor, explaining that he is so amazing that people pay attention to every word he says, and he is also rumored to be very rich. He is envious of that as well. He thinks that if the world were a novel, someone like Yu Su-ha would be the main character, while he is just an extra who can't even become a side character. On the news, Yu Su-ha says that to conclude, he would like to offer one last phrase to the viewers. The news reporter states that many hard-working hunter applicants are inspired by Yu Su-ha, who awakened to his skills as soon as he entered the tower in his early 20s and, within 1 month, defeated a boss monster that had remained unbeaten for 10 years. He truly is a legendary hunter. The reporter then asks Yu Su-ha if he could give a quick tip on the secret to success for aspiring hunters. Yu Su-ha responds that he will say this only once, so they should pay attention if they want to or not. It doesn't matter. In the end, those who are destined to succeed will succeed, but even if they do succeed, they shouldn't start a conflict with him. Kim Gong-yeon is surprised to hear this. He decides to leave, saying he will die. A reporter asks him what he meant by that just now, then concludes the special report for their viewers. Kim Gong-ja closes his laptop and mutters that Yu Su-ha makes him furious. He wonders if being that successful gives him the right to look down on others. Glancing at a newspaper on the wall, he feels as though Yu Su-ha looked down on him, not just the reporter. If only he had the same talent as the Flame Emperor, then he wouldn't have to live in this tiny one-room apartment, or be looked down upon as a lowly F-rank hunter without a single skill. He expresses his desire to become like the Flame Emperor, feeling envious. He wishes to succeed with his own strength. He muses how nice it would be if he possessed the Flame Emperor's skills. He cries while holding the wall, then suddenly sees a light appear near the window. He thinks he has seen this thousands of times in videos. It could be a skill card. The skill card appears in front of him, and the status window indicates an unprecedented feeling of intense envy. The tower is astonished by his envy and grants him a skill. He remembers the videos he watched online where people showed their skill cards. The status window announces that the tower praises his achievement. Surprised, he remarks that this is different from the skill awakenings he has seen in videos. He thinks that he's not in a position to get caught up in its wording. This is the moment he has wished for ever since he came here. A golden card, a skill greater than S rank. He grabs the golden card, and the status window notifies him that the skill is called Creating Skill Card. He wants to become just like him, S+ rank. The effect is automatically activated when killed by an enemy. He can copy one of the skills of the enemy that killed him and make it his own. He cannot copy from an opponent he has already copied from, and the copied skill is chosen randomly. However, he will die. He repeats that he can copy one of the skills of the enemy that killed him and make it his own, but he will die. He wonders aloud, what the hell kind of skill is this? After a while, he reflects on how the tower suddenly appeared in their world. It could be seen on the horizon from anywhere in the world, and those with nothing to lose were the first to enter the tower and explore its interior. Each floor of the tower was inhabited by monsters from another world, and for the select few chosen by the tower, skills appeared. Those who heard the news gathered at the tower and began hunting the monsters. On the news, a man in a blue shirt recounts that he once saw the Flame Emperor fighting on the hunting grounds. He wielded a flaming spear and moved as if he were dancing, like Nataraja, embodying Shiva himself. Gongja rests his head on the table and asks Mr. Manager if they can watch something else. Mr. Manager asks why and remarks that it's just getting good. He then asks if Gongja doesn't like the Flame Emperor. The man on the news comments that despite achieving rank 1, the Flame Emperor remains unchanged. He finds it refreshing to see someone who doesn't put on a facade, believing that such a person is the hero humanity needs right now. Gongja responds, saying it's not about that. He questions why there are people whose lives are like that while his own life seems to be an unlucky mess. Mr. Manager thinks to himself what a drunk fool he is being. He explained that yesterday, he acquired an S+ rank skill, and asked what kind of terrible skills killed him when he used them. He admits that he didn't even report it to the hunter associations because he's too ashamed to admit that this piece of junk is his skill. Mr. Manager tells him to vomit outside. After a while, Gongja stands in the street while the status window notifies him that today's top-ranked hunters are the Flame Emperor in first place, the Black Dragon Witch in second, and Viper in third. He feels like his head is going to explode and hears some noise. Saintess Isabel stands with Yu Suha and asks him to please move aside. She questions why he is suddenly there. Yu Suha accuses her of being a great actor, suggesting that if someone were watching, they would believe she is the victim and he poisoned her drinks. He shows her a bottle and identifies it as basilisk stomach acid, the poison she intended to use on him. He throws it away and emphasizes that without his skills, the situation could have turned dangerous. She insists it's a misunderstanding, claiming that she only wanted to raid the tower together with him as a team. Yu Suha replies that he thought the same initially, but he was mistaken. She pleads, please, let's settle this by talking. Let's clear up this misunderstanding. Gongja is shocked to hear them secretly and wonders if they were not dating after all. He questions what kind of couple has a conversation like that. Yu Suha grabs her by the neck and says that talking it out sounds good to him. He adds that it would also be gentlemanly of him, but he will decide the rules of the conversation. Kim Gongja imagines a struggle between someone who wants to murder and someone who doesn't want to be murdered, and he nervously places his hand over his mouth. On the other side, Yu Suha declares that he will be the one asking questions, and she only needs to answer by nodding her head. He mentions his lie detection skill, warning her not to deceive him. If she is honest during their conversation, he might consider giving her the antidote. He asks if it was the Witch of the Black Dragon who ordered her to kill him. She reflects that despite achieving rank 1, he remains unchanged. She finds it refreshing to see someone who doesn't pretend and nods in agreement. He confirms that's what she thought. He believes this kind of person is the hero humanity needs right now. Using his powers, he kills her and bids her farewell. Kim Gongja is shocked to see and considers a hero this man, a murderous psychopath. He moves to escape from there and considers that he needs to flee now, but suddenly places his foot on a bottle, which catches Yu Suha's attention. Yu Suha sees him and remarks that he thought he had eliminated all the rats nearby, but there was one left. Kim Gongja considers those to be the eyes of a killer. Saintess was not his first time. How many people has he killed by now? A few dozen, a few hundred. He uses his flame skill's power to attack him. Gong Ya's foot twists, and he falls to the floor, considering his foot. He approaches him while Kim Gong-ja asks him to please spare him. He asks if he should not have run. Kim Gong-ja once again asks him to please spare him. He asks if he sees it. Kim Gong-ja says with a trembling voice that he did not see it. He saw nothing. He sits beside him and asks what he did not see. He says that, on top of calling him Flame Emperor, he just happened to be at the right place at the right time, and he did not see anything. He grabs him by the neck and says, "Damn, that's so convincing. If he were even a bit of a fool, he would have believed him." Kim Gong-ya says he won't tell anyone, please. He asks if he does not want to become like the Saintess and demands a proper answer, asking who sent him, and if he is another one from the Black Dragon. Kim Gong-ja thinks he's a devil. The world has gone crazy over someone like this. He mentions the lie detection skill, saying he heard he has it, and if he uses that, he would know that he is truly nothing. Yu Suha says that was just nonsense, though. He asks then, without any certainty, if he killed her just because she was a bit suspicious. Yu Suha asks how dare he say such hurtful things and who he looks like, and he releases his neck. He says the Saintess really did try to kill him. If he had not killed her first, he would have been poisoned by her tomorrow. Kim Gong-ja asks how he knows that. He says he just does. He has his ways, and since he is bringing up the lie detection, he guesses he really must be innocent. Kim Gong-ya thanks him for believing in him. He places his hand on his head, starts performing some magic, and says, however, he has already seen too much, so he needs him to die and says his name is Yu Suha. Farewell. He kills him. The scene shifts to a flashback where the director tells young Kim Gong-ja that since his name is Gong-ja, he needs to be someone as great as Confucius. He agrees. The scene shifts to the present. He thinks he does not want to die. The status window notifies him that he has died. He wonders why he had to die like that. No, why he had to live like that. The status window notifies that the condition for his skills has been fulfilled by his death. He thinks he could have lived a bit better. The status window notifies that it is randomly copying Hunter Yu Suha's skills and creating skill cards. He thinks he has the right to live a better life. The status window says to select a skill card. He sees cards and thinks if he were given just one more chance while grabbing the golden card. The status window notifies that the selection is complete, copying skill. After a while, he opens his eyes and hears the news reporting live on Babylon News. The Black Dragon Guild has set out to raid the 40th floor of the tower. Despite boasting of showcasing the skills of a top guild this time, unfortunately, they returned empty-handed once more. He finds himself lying in bed, sits up abruptly, and exclaims, "What is happening?" The news continues, stating that the Flame Emperor raided the boss by himself again. He asks what is going on. He asks when he will return home. He looks at the cat person and others' comments on the phone. He watches the news where Yu Suha asks why they are calling him such a dumb nickname when he has a proper name. He is shocked and asks why everyone is saying the same things as yesterday while he remembers being killed by Yu Suha just a moment ago. He calls for a skill card to be opened. He sees two cards and says one is the most trash skill of the century. He looks at the other card and thinks, no way. This is the Flame Emperor's skill he copied when he died. The status window indicates that the returner's winding clock, rank X, activates automatically upon death. He returns 24 hours back in time from the moment of his death. His memories and experience points are preserved during the return. However, there is a greater penalty the higher his rank, a skill copied from Yu Suha. He states that he automatically returns to the day before his death, retaining his memories and experience points, the secret to becoming a legendary hunter. He believes that's why he killed the Saintess and recalls Yu Suha saying he just does it. He has his ways. He thinks it's because he was actually poisoned by the Saintess the next day, even though he was innocent. Meanwhile, in the news, the reporter asks them to conclude with a final phrase for the viewers. Yu Suha responds, "In the end, those who are destined to succeed will succeed, but even if he succeeds, don't provoke him, or he'll regret it." Kim Gong-ja becomes angry upon hearing the mention of death and retorts, "Let's see who's going to die this time." Shortly afterwards, he hears screams of fire and sees a building ablaze through his window. He asks what they should do and quickly exits his apartment. A man urges others to stop standing around and join in extinguishing the fire. Another agrees. Kim Gong-ja reflects that the place where he lives is different from the outside world, a city constructed by people who entered the tower to become hunters. Later, he runs and sees a building nearby. He thinks it's on the first floor of the tower and checks his phone to see the time. He believes it's close to the time when he was getting drunk. The fire was allegedly started by the Flame Emperor to eliminate evidence of his murder. The Guild Master of Black Dragon, known as Black Witch, instructs those with water abilities not to act alone, but to coordinate with others. They throw water on the fire. The head of the Healer and Pharmacist Guild, Guild Master Alchemist, declares that the Black Dragon Guild will temporarily assume command here. Everyone is asked to follow their orders for the moment. Kim Gong-ja observes that this city has many names. She confirms that the area has been secured, but there may be survivors inside. She suggests sending in a rescue squad. Kim Gong-ja considers that some call it Babylon, while others refer to it as the First Floor City or even the City of Ascension. However, it's essentially the same, a city he cannot leave once he sets foot in it. The leader of the city's vigilante corps, Paladin, ranked 10th, reassures that this is not a problem. The area has been isolated for 5 years, and they were fortunate. Someone requests more fire extinguishers. She inquires if there are no more water users available. Kim Gong-ja reflects that the residents of this city are accustomed to extreme situations like this. Master Alchemist remarks on the strangeness of the situation and wonders why the Saintess has not arrived yet. She notes that she is not the type of person to be late to an emergency. Paladin mentions that she mentioned having something to do tonight, likely a date, as she has been seen with the Flame Emperor frequently lately. She adds that she doesn't like him. There's something about him that creeps her out. Yu Su-ha arrives and asks who dared to play with fire without his permission. Kim Gong-ja sees him and acknowledges his arrival. Paladin expresses gratitude for his arrival. Yu Su-ha responds affirmatively, stating that Hyung Nim is on the scene. Paladin explains that a fire has started in the old slums and asks if he can assist. Yu Su-ha questions what he would gain from helping. Kim Gong-ja thinks to himself, calling Yu Su-ha a crazy psychopath for daring to ask for a reward when he's the one who started the fire. She states that he would gain the goodwill of the public as the rank one who saved the day. He asks if Yu Su-ha thinks he cares about others' opinions of him. Kim Gong-ja thinks to himself, who cares about his personality anyway? He's already a legendary hunter. He believes Yu Su-ha is just stating facts. And it's not like people don't know what kind of person he is. Yu Su-ha starts to leave, saying he refuses to engage in charity work. He tells them to see him around. He thinks it's refreshing to see someone who doesn't put up a front. No one knows. Everyone thinks of the Flame Emperor as a slightly eccentric hero. He believes he's the only one who knows the true nature of the Flame Emperor as a cold-blooded killer. He feels the need to kill him. Someone asks where he's going and warns that it's dangerous to get close. Kim Gong-ja considers it for humanity and for the honor of hunters. Hunters are meant to hunt monsters, regardless of the method. Yu Su-ha turns back to see him. A man advises him to get his head on straight. Kim Gong-ja quickly runs towards the fire, believing that the monster deserves to be exterminated. Yu Su-ha asks if he's heading into the fire. Kim Gong-ja starts using his skills, feeling the heat and pain, but knowing it's the only way to kill the monster. The status window notifies that he has died and will return 24 hours into the past. After a while, he wakes up again in his bed and hears the news reporting live from Babylon News. The Black Dragon Guild has launched a raid on the 40th floor of the tower. He thinks to himself that the skill is working properly and checks the status window, which indicates he is currently an F-rank hunter with no penalty for using the skill. He remarks that even an F-rank like him doesn't receive a penalty. He reflects that killing the Flame Emperor in his current state is impossible. Even if he manages to kill him by some stroke of luck, he will just return 24 hours into the past since he also possesses this skill. He sees a knife near a newspaper and thinks it's the only way for a lowly hunter like him. The scene shifts to a flashback where a yellow-haired lady asks Yu Su-ho when he first awakened. He replies that it was the summer when he was 21, so it has already been 11 years. She remarks that since he remembers it so clearly, he must have a good memory. He takes a sip of water and explains that it's not necessarily that. It's just that the day he awakened happened to be his birthday, 11 years ago, on June 7th. The scene shifts to the present. Kim Gong-ja holds a knife and calculates that it's been 4,050 days since today. By dying 4,050 times, he can return to the time before he awakens. He stabs himself. The system window notifies that he has died and returned 24 hours ago. He wakes up again on his bed and remarks, "Good, now only 49 days left." He repeats this process, stabbing himself each time he wakes up. The status window notifies each time he dies and returns without penalty for using the skill. He says 20 days. He continues stabbing himself repeatedly. When he wakes up again, he says, 543 days. Later, he points the knife and declares, "Finally, 1 day left," and stabs himself while a light emanates from his body. After a while, he lies on the floor, gets up, and thinks to himself that he did it. He has returned to a time before the legend of the Flame Emperor began. He reflects that he died 30 times more than the originally planned 4,050, including the time it took to kill himself, as well as breaks taken here and there. He held on all that time to prove that the legend of that devil is not eternal. He hides his face with his hoodie, goes out, and thinks it's time to find his first prey. The scene shifts to 11 years ago, May 6th, at 11 am. Kim Gong-ja stands outside Yu Soo-ha's house and observes him through the window. Yu Soo-ha lies on his bed as his alarm rings. He gets up, complaining that his head hurts terribly and regretting drinking so much the night before. Kim Gong-ja thinks about formulating a perfect plan. He has repeated this day 10 times without fail. Every day at 9 am, he woke up in the F-rank dormitory. Yu Soo-ha dresses up, holding a rod, and mutters, "Time to go to work, got him life later." At 3 p.m., Kim Gong-ja thinks about catching slimes in the second floor hunting ground and secretly observes Yu Soo-ha. Yu Soo-ha holds a slime and complains that it's boring as hell catching slimes every day. He screams, wondering when he will get to live an awesome life like the Sword Saint. Kim Gong-ja thinks that his 21-year-old self is just an average F-rank hunter wishing for a stroke of luck. Yu Soo-ha asks rhetorically if he could win the lottery or get an S-rank skill. He reflects that, normally, his wishes would come true a week later. He adds, while cutting the slime, that such a future is not likely for a guy like him anymore. Later, at 5:31 p.m., Yu Soo-ha heads to the lift and requests it to take him to floor 6. Gong-ja explains that he has decided he won't get anywhere just catching slimes, so he moves to a more challenging area that beginner hunters seldom visit. The system announces they are moving to the 6 hunting grounds on floor 6. Kim Gong-ja thinks it's a place where, for the next 36 minutes, he will be alone. Gong-ja is covered in slime and calls out to Yu Soo-ha, asking for help because he's been attacked by wolves. He requests a potion. Yu Soo-ha responds with frustration, questioning if he has already messed with the monsters there. He concludes there's no point in hunting there today. Gong-ja insists, asking him to please give him a potion. Yu Soo-ha exclaims in frustration, asking what kind of goddamn potion he wants. He complains that he won't even get to fulfill his daily quota and demands to know how much he will pay for the potion. Holding up the bottle, he says his hunt has been ruined, yet he's expected to give an expensive potion for free to a stranger he just met. He questions whether he has any morals. Gong-ja replies that the potion is sold at the Alchemy Castle for 20 gold and offers 22 gold, pleading for help. Yu Soo-ha retorts that he doesn't seem to understand the situation. He points the rod at him, noting that he's on death's door yet only wants to pay 20 gold, asking if his life is only worth that amount. Gong-ja then offers 40 gold. Yu Soo-ha says no and demands that he give him everything he has, grabbing him by the shirt. Kim Gong-ja reflects that he already knew what kind of person he was. Yu Soo-ha says that's right. He wants to give him the potion, but he can't even use his hands. He tells him not to worry, saying he'll take the money for him. He takes out his wallet and starts counting the coins, estimating roughly 60 gold. Yu Soo-ha asks why he is so poor and tells him to carry around more money. Gong-ja responds that it's all his savings. Yu Soo-ha reassures him that he will spend it well and comments that this is how life works. Gong-ja then asks for the potion. Yu Soo-ha uses his power on an arrow and says he thought about it a bit. He concludes that if he lets him go, he might come after him for revenge later. Yu Soo-ha insists he needs to live without worries since he has seen his face. Yu Soo-ha asks why Kim Gong-ja doesn't just go ahead and die, then moves to attack him. Kim Gong-ja punches him and thinks that he will live without worries. He then takes out a knife, attacks Yu Su-ha, and says to prevent the 1 in a million chance that he awakens due to his life being threatened, he will make sure to properly send him off. He kills Yu Su-ha and reflects that while killing him is one thing, something strange bothered him, why he told him his name at that moment. Gong-ja recalls a memory of him saying, "His name is Yu Su-ha. Farewell." He realizes, after 4,090 days, that despite being a cold-blooded killer, he wanted to pretend he was a knight in a sacred duel. Gong-ja angrily questions how he could dare act righteous after killing all those innocent people. Just then, many wolves appear behind him. He turns to see them and says they want to eat him, so they don't need him. He tells them to go for it and runs away. The wolves start eating Yu Su-ha's corpse. After a while, Gong-ja digs a spot, finds a bag and some bottles, and changes his clothes. He instructs the system to take him to the first floor, wondering if it's really over. The system announces the move to Floor 1 City. When he arrives on the first floor, he sees the Vigilante Corps and thinks to himself that it's over and no one knows what happened. He passes by them, feeling relieved. After a while, the news reports that the Floor 10 raid team faced another defeat today, with growing criticism of the Sword Saint for his refusal to participate in the raid despite being ranked number 1. Kim Gong-ja reflects that the terrible legend of the Flame Emperor Yu Su-ha is no more and asks the manager for another pint of beer. A man in a white shirt remarks that he is drinking quite a lot and comments that his hunt must have gone well today. Kim Gong-ja responds affirmatively, saying it went super well. The news continues, reporting that even though all the hunters from rank 7 to rank 2 went out together to challenge the 10th floor, some are now calling it a useless ranking system. Kim Gong-ja drinks his beer and instructs the system to open his hunter status window. The status window notifies that he is ranked F, with 2 out of 4 skills. He wants to become just like him S+, which is passive, and Returner's Winding Clock X, also passive. The 3rd and 4th slots are empty. He reflects that it tastes so sweet just looking at these precious skills and muses that, despite not having a combat skill, this must be what they call human greed. He acknowledges that he is being shameless if he wants anything more than this and decides to focus on what is possible with his skills. He considers that he could win the Merchant Guild Sang Ryan's lottery or sell the clearing methods for the upper floors, which no one knows yet. He exclaims that things are finally looking good for him and wonders what he should do from here on out. Just then, Marcus Callenberry arrives and asks for milk mixed with a little vodka and sugar, suggesting that honey would be even better than sugar. He apologizes, explaining that he is not a bartender, and thinks to himself what a strange old man Marcus is. Marcus insists he will pay properly and reassures him not to worry about that. A man nearby questions if it is really him and wonders why he is there. The news reports that, during these times, there is a lot of public opinion suggesting that for the morale of the hunters, cooperation is necessary. They question the whereabouts and actions of the Sword Saint. Kim Gong-ja is surprised to see Marcus Callenberry. Kim Gong-ja reflects on the Sword Saint, whose real name is Marcus Callenberry, noting that many people have forgotten him 11 years after his disappearance. He acknowledges that until the Flame Emperor rose to fame, Marcus Callenberry was the true number 1 of the tower. Kim Gong-ja speculates that Marcus would likely be the strongest in the current time, believing the old man possesses many S-rank skills, unlike his own strange skills, but proper combat-oriented ones. The status window notifies him that his skill, he wants to become just like him, is ranked S+. Its effect is automatically activated when he is killed by an enemy, allowing him to copy one of the enemy's skills and make it his own. However, he cannot copy from an opponent he has already copied from, and the copied skill is selected randomly. The downside is that he will die in the process. He considers whether this skill will allow him to copy a skill from any hunter as long as he dies to them, including the skills of the current rank 1. Now, however, he can't just die. Glancing at his phone, he thinks this seems quite achievable, doesn't it? He notices a comment stating that he heard Marcus Callenberry was the head of a wealthy North European family. Another comment mentions that it seems no one really knows what skills he has. A third comment remarks that despite having all the fortune and connections one could ever want, he abandoned it all to come to the tower. One more person adds that they heard from someone else that he has a habit of talking to himself. He considers that this guy, Marcus Callenberry, is completely shrouded in mystery. There is no useful information. It's all rumors. He thinks it would have been great if Marcus was even half the attention whore that the Flame Emperor was. Marcus Callenberry tells him to shut up and not be so loud. He wonders if that spooked him and reflects that at least the rumors about him talking to himself are true. There always has to be something wrong with the rank one. He sees a comment from someone warning him never to speak a certain word in front of the Sword Saint. He claims it's a true story witnessed firsthand and advises that if one doesn't want to die, he should never say this to the Sword Saint. The scene shifts to a flashback where a man in a black shirt addresses Marcus Callenberry, stating that this is a communal hunting ground and they should follow the rules, and asking if Marcus can't see that they have already claimed this spot. Marcus Callenberry responds that it's odd because he never heard about such a thing. Kim Gong-ja reads the next comment, stating that a few days ago, some high rankers picked a fight with the Sword Saint on the 9th floor hunting grounds. He remarks that it's either time for him to get some new hearing aids or that he didn't hear them because he is so full of himself. Looking at Marcus, he speculates that even the grandchildren he left behind must have terrible personalities. Marcus Callenberry moves to attack, but Kim Gong-ja moves back. He reads the next part, which questions whether Marcus is saying that the Sword Saint committed murder, whether he is part of a large guild, or if he is just spreading bad rumors. Kim Gong-ja thinks to himself what he will do next. He just wants to share the information, thinking they should know about it as well. Anyway, he advises not to talk about his grandchildren in front of the Sword Saint if one wants to avoid trouble. The scene shifts to the present. Kim Gong-ja sees more comments and remembers something he should never say in front of Marcus Callenberry. Marcus Callenberry interrupts, telling everyone to be silent and that he will handle it. Noting he can't drink his vodka because of the disturbance, Kim Gong-ja thinks he needs to test something out. Marcus Callenberry places a coin on the table, thanking them for the drink, and moves to leave. The man in the white shirt replies, wishing him a nice day. A brown-haired girl remarks that he finally left. The boy sitting next to her asks if he has Alzheimer's, questioning why he is mumbling so much. Another boy comments that it was a mood killer. Kim Gong-ja addresses the owner, thanking him for the drink and placing a coin on the table. The man in the white shirt thanks him warmly and invites him to come again. After a while, Kim Gong-ja walks along the road and wonders where he is. He thinks about the rank one, pondering where he could have gone since he followed him out immediately, so he couldn't have gone far. Spotting him, Gong-ja thinks he's found him. Since he's the only one dressed like that in Babylon, he's pretty easy to spot, and he wonders what skills he has. He considers that the Flame Emperor had an X-rank returner skill, so he speculates on what skills the Sword Saint, who succeeded even before the Flame Emperor, might possess. If the Flame Emperor had such a powerful skill, what could be even more game-changing than that? Kim Gong-ja believes that skill is about to become his. He just needs a bit of luck. Later, he arrives at a forest and thinks to himself that this place should be adequate. Marcus Callenberry senses his presence and tells him to come out. Gong-ja hides behind a tree and thinks that he knows his location right away. Marcus Callenberry remarks that no one will know what happened out here. Gong-ja comes out from behind the tree and apologizes for his rudeness, explaining that he just wanted to ask the Sword Saint for a favor. Marcus Callenberry asks about the favor, questioning whether Gong-ja intentionally did a poor job of following him so that he would notice him, and why he is asking for a favor from an ordinary old man in such a threatening manner. He thinks he has been misunderstood. He didn't intentionally let himself be detected, and he's not armed in any threatening way. Yet, Marcus Callenberry holds a sword as if prepared for an attack despite simpling him. This situation is convenient for Kim Gong-ja, but what could be the cause? Marcus Callenberry comments that he is quite an amazing actor, noting him as expected of a first-class assassin. Gong-ja asks for pardon and wonders how he, an F rank like himself, could be mistaken for such. He thinks sarcastically, "Congratulations, Kim Gong-ja. He can now die without insulting his grandchildren." He apologizes, saying he doesn't quite follow. Marcus Callenberry remarks on his shrewdness, claiming he is still acting, but he can't deceive him. Kim Gong-ja pleads, addressing him as Gramps, genuinely asking because he truly doesn't understand. He questions how he could be seen as a first-class assassin when he's actually quite proud of how ordinary he looks. Marcus Callenberry tells him to shut his mouth. stating that among his skills is one that he can see how many people someone has murdered. Gong-ja thinks to himself that he can indeed see the number 1 above his head. He acknowledges that murder is murder, regardless of justification, and while he might know his victim would have become a monster, he has no excuse acceptable to people of this time period. Gong-ja agrees, saying he understands that it may sound like he's making excuses, but he asks Marcus Callenberry to hear him out. He insists that his actions were justified, and he swears by the heavens. Marcus Callenberry removes his cap and expresses disgust, calling Gong-ja a devil who has committed countless murders and has no right to speak of reasons. He admits that he hasn't lived an entirely honest life, but he has not committed senseless mass murder like him. Gong-ja, taken aback, asks about the accusation of mass murder. He points his sword and states that throughout his entire life, Gong-ja has shamelessly lied about the number of people he has murdered, with the number 4091 clearly visible above his head. Gong-ja reflects that he killed Yu Su-ha once and then killed himself 4090 times to return to the past. Marcus Callenberry asks if he was sent by the Witch of the Black Dragon. Gong-ja realizes that in the eyes of Marcus Callenberry, he is viewed as a mass murderer who has killed 4091 people. He decides this isn't just about copying a skill and flees from the scene. Marcus Callenberry demands an answer, questioning if Kim Gong-ja won't respond. Gong-ja thinks that as long as he possesses that skill, the Sword Saint will always try to kill him whenever they meet. Marcus Callenberry declares that it doesn't matter, stating it was not an important question and moves to attack him, calling him a devil. He swings the sword near Kim Gong-ya's neck, but Gong-ja moves back to avoid it. Marcus Callenberry asks if he managed to dodge his blade, remarking on his skills as expected of a first-class assassin. Gong-ja thinks to himself that Marcus Callenberry is a deaf idiot geezer. He strikes with a stone, and Marcus Callenberry falls to the ground. Gong-ja realizes that dodging the first attack was pure luck and doubts his ability to dodge another strike. Marcus Callenberry tells him to shut up and asks if he wants to interrogate this devil. He reminds him that he said he would take care of the situation and demands that he stop interfering with everything he does. Gong-ja feels puzzled and thinks the conversation seems too coherent to be a result of schizophrenia, wondering if it is part of Marcus Callenberry's skill. He speculates if it could be telepathy and recalls hearing rumors about such skills existing. He worries that Marcus might be sharing information about him with others, labeling him as a murderer who killed 4091 people. Gong-ja realizes that if this information spreads, he will become a wanted man in the eyes of the Hunter Association, hunted down by big guilds and high-ranked bounty hunters until he is publicly executed on the first floor of the tower. He thinks he can't let that happen and needs to die right now before 24 hours pass. Marcus Callenberry says not to bother, as he has already made up his mind, even if the person is his teacher. Gong-ja, desperate, asks if his grandkids are doing well and mentions hearing about his nice family in North Europe. He knows how things are with those kinds of families and that the outside world is dangerous. He suggests that if people find out their grandpa is the Sword Saint, it could have severe consequences. Marcus Callenberry, unfazed, attacks Gong-ja and decapitates him. As Gong-ja sees the moon, he wonders if it has always been upside down. He reflects on how he couldn't even see the last strike, admiring his skill and envying his level of mastery, wishing he could possess such a strike. The status window notifies that he has died. The condition for his skill has been fulfilled by his death, and a skill card is being created. He reaches the conscious world and thinks that, finally, he will have the skills of 2 different rank 1 hunters. He says, "Alright, where's that golden card?" and sees many cards, saying he will just pick one like he did with the Flame Emperor. He asks why there isn't a golden card and wonders if this means, unlike the Flame Emperor, the legend of the Sword Saint Marcus Callenberry was achieved without a single S-rank skill. He kneels down, thinking no way, there has to be something overpowered in one of these silver cards. He sees 3 bronze cards and 4 silver cards. He thinks, ignoring the worthless ones, his chances are 1 out of 4. That kill count skill is probably among these, too, but he doesn't want that. He wants a cheat skill. He pleads, comes on, says he will never ask for anything ever again and grabs a card. He says this must be the skill behind the Sword Saint's success. The status window notifies that the selection is complete and the skill is being copied. He will return 24 hours back to the past. Later, he wakes up in his bed and says to open the Hunter status window. He wonders if he actually got the Sword Saint's main skill. The status window notifies that he has acquired Sword Throne A+, passive. He says at least it's an A+ and notes that it doesn't seem like that kill count skill, but it is another passive. He laments that he wanted a cool, active skill, like a rare martial arts skill or aura awakening. He decides he shouldn't complain about an A+ skill and says to open the skill card. He says he can't tell what it does just from the name. Sword Emperor lies beside him and asks about all the noise. He reminds him that he's told him before to go outside if he wants to train in the middle of the night, suggesting he be a little more respectful. Kim Gong-ya is surprised to see him beside himself. He says he will be pulled to him if he goes far enough, so there's no need to wake him up. Gong-ja excuses himself and asks who he is. He turns back and asks if he can see him. Gong-ja says yes. He asks if he can hear him. Gong-ja replies that he assumes so since they are having a conversation. He expresses surprise and says that's not supposed to happen. He asks where he is, why it's so small here, and where Marcus is. Kim Gong-ya asks if he means Marcus Callenberry, the Sword Saint. He confirms and remarks that the title is too much for a beginner like him. But yes, he's talking about the grandpa known by that name. He looks out the window and asks where Marcus is, saying he should be around here somewhere. Gong-ja thinks it's odd that the Sword Saint is considered a beginner. He states that he cannot see anything through this small window. The status window displays a skill card, indicating that the Sword Throne, rank A+, has an effect from another world. He cleared his world's tower up to the 99th floor, but failed on the 100th. Unsatisfied and unable to relinquish his earthly desires, he has become a spirit. He cannot physically affect anything in this world, but can communicate with the holder of this skill. One should be awestruck by his skill and experience and seek his advice. Only the holder of this skill can sense his presence. As copied from Marcus Callenberry, he believes he is from another world and is a ghost, apologizing for the confusion, as he might be the Sword Saint's guardian spirit. The Sword Emperor responds that he guesses this to be true. He then apologizes, admitting that he thinks he accidentally cloned him. The Sword Emperor, in a panic, demands that he be returned to Gramps immediately. He states that he copied him with his skill, so he should be able to cancel it as well, and asks if he does not understand how refunds work. He believes everything should be refundable in this day and age. Kim Gong-ya responds that he told him it's not something he can control, even if he did. He cries out, calling Marcus a foolish disciple, and lamenting that his master has been kidnapped by some loser kid. Kim Gong-ya asks if he can stop crying upside down, fearing a heart attack. He claims that this situation arose because the foolish disciple did not respect his master enough, and he told him to worship the ground he walked on. Kim Gong-ja pleads for peace and quiet. He retorts, questioning the concept of living when he is already dead. Kim Gong-ja concedes, asking if he can then please quietly die. He exclaims that he has never been so disrespected in his life, urging everyone to look at the idiot who badmouths the dead, insisting that dying once was not enough. Gong-ya wonders what kind of ghost talks this much. He recalls Marcus Callenberry repeatedly telling him to be quiet and to shut up, accusing him of interfering too much. He laments that not only does he have to hide from the Sword Saint, but he also has this dumb skill. The Sword Emperor inquires why he needs to hide from Gramps, stating that although he may not seem like it, he is quite nice, as long as his grandkids are not mentioned. Gong-ja responds that he already knows that, and that one of his skills is seeing people's kill counts. He mentions the eye of the detective or something similar, questioning its usefulness. He further remarks that it is a garbage skill, only useful for identifying assassins. Gong-ja then states that the number of kills associated with him is 4091. He asks incredulously if he is crazy, labeling him an amateur among amateurs who do not seem to know how to use aura. He questions how someone like Gong-ja could have killed 4091 people. Gong-ja clarifies that he did not kill 4091 people. He killed only one person who would have become a tyrant in the future. The number 4090 represents the times he has killed himself. He explains that he returned from 11 years in the future to kill that tyrant. Gong-ya reveals that he possesses the skill to copy a random skill from the person who kills him, and he obtained the returner skill when that tyrant killed him. Thus, when he dies, he returns to 24 hours before his death, making him technically immortal. He admits that he wanted revenge and that the tyrant, who was their rank 1, could not be killed as long as he had his revival skill. So, Gong Ya came back to a time before the tyrant acquired that skill. The Sword Emperor asks if he turned back time to get revenge on one person by committing 11 years worth of suicide, and then asks for his name. He replies that it's Kim Gong-ja. The Sword Emperor then inquires why he chose to target his Gramps and why he decided to steal his skill as soon as he finished his revenge. Gong-ja explains that because his Gramps were number 1, the fastest way to get stronger was to take the strongest people's skills. He adds that he is being honest because the skill card indicated that no one else could feel his presence, so there was no way he could tell anyone else. Kim Gong-ja confirms this. The Sword Emperor tells him to stand up, noting that he has enough perseverance and guessing that his body would be fine with some exercise. He also acknowledges that he has enough ambition and concludes that it's not bad, suggesting he sees him hunt some monsters. After a while, Kim Gong-ja enters the forest and asks if he just wants to kill a few monsters. The Sword Emperor confirms this. Kim Gong-ja starts attacking slime monsters and kills them. The Sword Emperor observes him and comments that he knows it. Gong-ja asks what he knows. The Sword Emperor explains that when he was alive, he was known as the Sword Emperor, born in a different world where a tower rose, and he quickly ascended to the top. Gong-ya thinks about how the Flame Emperor became a legend after clearing floor 40 and finds it astonishing that he cleared floor 99. He says that at his level, he can gauge talent at a glance, particularly the talent for becoming a hunter, which is why he wanted to see his hunt. Gong-ja responds that he has wasted his time because he has no fighting talent. He disagrees, asserting that he has immense talent. Gong-ja says he is just teasing him if he is not. He acknowledges that, of course, he has no talent for martial arts. His moves are too clumsy, his body is untrained, and he doesn't seem close to sensing his aura. However, he points out that he has a talent that no one else possesses. He is not afraid of death. He explains that normally, people instinctively protect themselves in a fight. But surprisingly, he lacks that instinct entirely, which likely disappeared after dying more than 4,000 times. Gong-ja questions if that can even be considered a talent. The Sword Emperor asserts that it definitely is. Talent isn't necessarily something one is born with. Anyone can develop talent at any point in their lives. One of the most difficult talents to acquire is transcending the fear of death, which he finds incredible. Kim Gong-ya reflects that no one has ever told him something like that, not even himself. He believes he simply couldn't tolerate being treated like a bug by the Flame Emperor, reaching a point where he killed himself 4,000 times, and death became his talent. The Sword Emperor then asks him one thing. If he died to Gramps, what was he thinking back then? Gong-ja responds that he thought it was beautiful. He laughs and finds it very interesting, affirming that his ability is to copy and not steal, so Marcus still has another him as his guardian spirit. He expresses a desire to see which of them will become the greater hunter. He declares that he will assist him, aiming to bring him to a point where he can stand toe-to-toe with Gramps or even reign over him, and together they will conquer this tower. After a while, the Sword Emperor calls Gong-ja and asks why he isn't up yet, while Gong-ja lies in bed and requests 5 more minutes. The Sword Emperor admonishes him, stating he is slacking off and that old man Marcus might be clearing the 10th floor as they speak, but Gong-ja insists on 5 more minutes. He covers his ears with a pillow. The Sword Emperor asks if he's really covering his ears, threatening to sing songs from his hometown until he wakes up. He mentions he learned sound martial arts while alive and could decapitate at least 30 heads with a single verse. He asks if Gong-ja knows what time it is. Gong-ja checks his phone, confirms it's still 4 a.m., and calls the Sword Emperor a crazy idiot. He retorts that even bugs start crawling at 4 a.m., and since he's weaker than a bug, he should wake up earlier. Kim Gong-ya remarks that the Sword Emperor is only saying that because he's bored from being unable to sleep. He had always wondered why the Sword Saint trained at 4 a.m. every morning. It turns out it was not due to hard work, but because he annoyed others awake. The Sword Emperor acknowledges that he woke him up out of boredom and mentions that now Gong-ja can wake up early to train, so he should be thankful and get up to bow down to him. Gong-ja retorts that he wants to kill him. The Sword Emperor responds that he's already dead, so Gong-ja can't kill him. He asks if he has a problem with that, suggesting that he try dying himself. He adds that Kim Gong-ja can't die even if he wants to. He's a zombie now, and from today on, his name is Zombie Kim. Gongja curses in frustration. After a while, Gongja runs on the road while the Sword Emperor follows him and reminds him again that other than his perseverance, he doesn't have any talent. He expresses a preference to start teaching from the basics, but acknowledges he's not yet at a level where that's possible. He's somehow a tier below being able to learn the basics. Reflecting, he notes it's already been 4 days since he copied the sword thrown skill from the Sword Saint. Since then, he's killed Yu Suha once more and avoided the Sword Saint as much as possible. The Sword Emperor comments that in terms of potential, he is like a bottomless black hole, which he finds cool and enviable. Gongja tells him not to distract him while running and thinks he's currently following the training routine made by the Guardian Spirit. He explains that's why he insists he needs special guidance, and to receive it, he needs to pay a high tuition fee. He suggests they go win the lottery. Later, he thinks about a guild called Sang Ryan, officially named the Merchants Union. The guild master is the rank 3 hunter, Countess, who is the only one possessing a skill that allows trading with the outside world. Because of this cheating skill, Sang Ryan monopolizes the tower's economy and becomes the sole seller of lottery tickets in Babylon. A person wearing a cat cap thanks him for visiting Sang Ryan and asks how they can assist him. Gongja shows him the ticket and explains he's here to collect his lottery winnings. He informs him that he's won their Sang Ryan Happiness Lottery, offering congratulations. Gongja laughs and modestly says it's nothing. The Sword Emperor says he has always been curious and asks if Gongja knows why they always wear cat ears. Kim Gongja replies that he heard their guild master is a cat lady. He explains that she likes cats so much that she makes ordinary people wear cat ears, and he can guarantee she's a pervert. The person wearing the cat cap asks if Gongja has double-checked the date, noting that tickets purchased more than 2 years ago cannot be redeemed. Kim Gongja thinks this was the first thing he did after acquiring the Guardian Spirit. The Sword Spirit had said he needed some starting capital, so he had to win the lottery at least once. He assures them it's fine, as he bought the ticket last week. He checks it and confirms it's right, then asks if they need to check his identification. He is surprised to see the Sang Ryan Happiness Lottery first place prize of 53,000 G. Gongja asks about the first place prize. The Sword Emperor comments that making money seems pretty easy. The person in the cat cap confirms his number and asks for a moment. He says he will call the manager right away. Gongja replies affirmatively, telling him to take his time. The Sword Emperor asks what would happen if he gets robbed in an alleyway or something. He whispers that before he returns to this time, Yu Suha has also used this skill to win some lotteries, and there is something he learned from that. This is not something that can be hidden no matter how hard he tries. He thinks that if it's going to be revealed one way or another, it's safer to be open about it. If a winner is attacked, the Sang Ryan Guild would suffer the most damage. Later, Arthur Taylor arrives and thanks him for waiting. He introduces himself as the manager and also goes by the alias Safekeeper. Kim Gongja responds that Gongja is a fitting nickname for this guild and considers that if Arthur has an alias, he must be a ranker ranked at least in the top 300. Arthur Taylor laughs and acknowledges that he hears that often, inviting Kim Gongja to accompany him to the upper floors. Kim Gongja reflects that normally, an F-class like him would never get a chance to associate with a ranker. But today, it is different because he is a customer worth 50,000 G. The Sword Emperor admits he feels easily impressed because he has never received such treatment before. He was even touched when he was complimented on his talent last night. Gongja asks telepathically if he can't just be quiet for 1 second. The Sword Emperor responds that he shouldn't be such a pushover and should take after him, believing that everyone in the world exists for him to step on. Gongja thinks that if all people with the Emperor in their names are psychopaths, they are people he never wants to emulate. Arthur Taylor turns back and asks if there is something wrong. Gongja assures him it's nothing, just that he was spacing out for a second. Arthur Taylor expresses relief, noting Kim Gongja had a concerned expression, wondering if someone had treated him rudely before arriving. Gongja wonders if Arthur is an angel. The Sword Emperor comments on how easy it is. Arthur Taylor then leads him to a room, indicating it's the VIP room and showcasing the prize he won, 53,000 gold. Kim Gongja is surprised to see it and remarks that this amount of gold equates to over $5 million where he comes from. With this money, he could probably live comfortably for the rest of his life. If success were his goal, he would have already achieved it. Arthur Taylor offers him the choice to take all the money or leave it in the Sang Ryan Guild safe. Ganja thinks that he has decided to reign over this tower as a hunter, so money is just a small step, and he has already experienced far more valuable things before. He decides to keep the money safe in the Sang Ryan. Arthur Taylor acknowledges it's a wise decision, personally recommending that all winners do the same. He understands their desire to take the money with them but warns about the presence of bad people. Gesturing, he expresses interest in purchasing Sang Ryan's honorary guild member title, stating it costs 10,000 gold to become a second-class honorary member, which he will pay upfront. Arthur Taylor asks if Ganja doesn't yet have a guild membership. Ganja confirms he does not. The Sword Emperor comments that Kim Ganja is smarter than he thought, noting that a guild isn't just a simple friend group for hunters. The main reason hunters join a guild is for protection, showing his cleverness. Ganja reflects that while there are guards and the Hunter Association, the city is too wild to rely solely on them. He can tell from recent encounters with the Flame Emperor and the Sword Saint, especially how the Flame Emperor was never bound to a guild and took pride in his freedom. He reflects that he has won the lottery twice, but he probably never paid a protection fee to anyone. Someone of his rank rejecting all the guilds was bound to irritate some of them. That's why he almost got poisoned. He decides there's no need to worsen his relationship with the big guilds just yet.
Today's video ends here. Comment next if you want the next chapter. Like, share, and subscribe for more recaps. Full video available on the channel.